How's it going? Welcome to the stats section of the episode. I am John, the official statistician of Things on the Ice. We're just going to go over the league stats for the season, as well as each player's individual stats and how they felt about that. So obviously, as you can see here, this was an incredibly tight season. Almost everyone involved in the league was neck and neck with the number of wins. It was incredibly tight. And that's why we do points, really, because if we just go based off of wins, we have a three-way tie for first. What's that doing for anybody? Nothing. Incredible end of the season with Kyle and I tied for points and me just edging out Kyle with a tiebreaker with more wins. Let's move on to how people ended up winning their games this season. The two most common methods of victory were Thoracle, no surprise there, and Commander damage. Those two accounted for 40% of the wins this season. We also had a couple wins from Perforos, which is always a fun little surprise, and Goblin Sharpshooter and Triskaidekaphile were two cells in my spreadsheet that I never thought I would actually have to type out. But hey, that's the beauty of Magic. All right, turn order is huge. We were talking about this all throughout the season of what, early in the season, it seemed like a later seat position was really beneficial, but it ended up at the end of the season that the first seat accounted for 7 wins out of the season. That's nearly 50% of our games. If you were going first, you were winning the game. And absolutely incredible. Ironically, seat 2 had 1 win. So least likely to win if you're in second position at the table. Here are a couple more fun little stats from the season. Our most winningest commanders are Tivit, of course, Vial Smasher, partially purely based off of the volume of game that Vial Smasher was in. Most played commander is Vial Smasher with 11 games. And also our beloved Boomer Prosh also had 3 wins this season. The winningest color in this league is black. If you're playing a deck with black in it, your chance of winning the game is a little over 29%. Our most played color combo was white, blue, black, and red. Wooburg was actually just 1 game short. A lot of Wooburg coming in late in the season with Najeela and the first sliver, but combo of Blue Farm as well as the, what's it called? A Shy Vial Smasher. So our most played color combo was Wooburg with Blue Farm as well as a Shy Vial Smasher, seeing a lot of games. All right, when we're talking about game length, our games average 6.6 turns. Not as fast as I was I'd expect with Rogside being such like a top tier deck, but none of us play that. We play a lot of stacks pieces, a lot of stacks heavy decks. So it makes sense that we're taking a little longer with our games, but interesting to see if maybe some people can start playing some turbo decks, see how that speed affects our meta. Let's sit down and talk to the players, see what they think about their stats for this season. Here we are. Aren't we all here? Look at us. We're here with Sean. Sean, how's it going?
I've had better seasons.
Hey, you know what? You did a solid job this season. No, don't count yourself out. Also, great facial hair.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I am the Wish version of you.
Let's go through your stats, Sean. So you want to know what's funny about you is your most frequent seat position. You want to take a guess?
4.
Yes!
Yeah.
33% of the time you were going last, which, really speaks. You had 4 wins on the season. And actually your last 2 wins came from the 4th position in the seats. So, clearly it didn't hold you back too much.
Mm-hmm. What
do you think your favorite color this season was to play?
Either blue or red.
It was red.
All right.
Yeah, no, that Magda game just put you over into the red category. Otherwise, it would have been exactly tied blue. You were a little slower than league average with 6.75 average turn for a win. Part of that has to do with your Azami win. Though, funny enough, you taking all those extra turns didn't really add on to the amount of turns because didn't make a full rotation. You actually were incredibly varied with your wins and how you accomplished them. You had 4 wins, and each of those wins was a different win condition.
Yes.
What do you think your greatest strength this season was?
I think my greatest strength this season was the variety of decks that I had. I brought in stuff that we normally don't see. I know I played Grixis Pirates a lot. It's my favorite deck. It's the one that got me into CEDH. But bringing things in like Blood Pod and Azami and Animar and Magda, just stuff that our play group doesn't see a lot, helped me get the wins because you didn't know where it was coming from exactly.
And the stats absolutely back you up on that. You had the second most amount of variety in commanders. And over your 4 wins, you did it with 3 different commanders, or 3 different decks. So you're absolutely spot on with that. What do you feel like you struggled with this season?
My biggest struggles this season were, one, not mulling the correct amount. And my second would probably be coming out too strong, which made me a target, which got me knocked out either first a majority of the time or second.
Turn 1, Sean, is always incredibly threatening. You always threw yourself out there and immediately the table pounced on you. So that's fair. Well, what are you looking forward to next season? It's going to be an exciting time.
Actually, if you haven't seen the short yet, one thing that I think I'm excited for is playing other people's decks. And eventually giving out this old border foil vampiric tutor to one of our viewers. I like changing it up. I don't like playing the same decks consistently. So actually getting out there and seeing what other decks and the win cons for those decks, I think will just make me a better CEDH player.
Absolutely. And I appreciate you adding that spice to our pod, keeping us on our toes. Thanks for talking with me, Sean. Great interview. We are here with my mortal enemy, Seth. Seth, how's it going?
Pretty good, pretty good.
Wonderful to have you here. Wonderful to see you in 3rd place. How did you feel about the season?
You know, it was all right. Not the performance I was hoping for, but I gave it a fair shake.
We were back and forth all season. Like,
Yeah.
genuinely, those first 2 games, I just thought to myself, Seth is running away with this season. What is Prosh? What does Prosh do? What are we doing here? It was fun to have that sort of, because for the people at home, Jeremy has typically run away with most of our seasons. He's kind of the big baddie in our group. So him getting no wins was kind of nice. But we'll talk about that with Jeremy. Let's talk about Seth. Seth, where do you feel like you landed in seat position typically?
Probably 3rd place, 3rd seat, 2nd seat. Definitely not winning a lot of die rolls or Yahtzee rolls, which is how we decide turn order. Yeah, probably 2nd or 3rd.
You were most often 3rd seat, 33% of the time, but you were scattered across most of the seat positions. Half of your wins, though, came from that first seat. Game 2, Game 7 with Prosh and Kark Sakashima. You were in 1st position, and you took those games. What do you think your most played color was, and what do you feel your favorite color was?
Oh, 100% red. And also 100% red. Red is by far the best color in CEDH. You've got Dockside, you've got Jessica as well, and you've got Underworld Breach, right? It enables so much bullshit. Can't win on its own, but
I agree with most of that. I would disagree on it being the best color in CEDH, but that's a different episode. And you're absolutely right. Red was your most played color, as it was with most of our league.
surprise.
Yeah, no, it's a good color. Who thought Dockside and Underworld Breach would be good to play? Can you talk to me a little bit about Prosh? Prosh was 3 out of your 4 wins this season, and not really a deck you see much of in CEDH.
Yeah, so it's a significantly older CEDH build that I kind of refreshed here and there to try and get it up with some of the newer cards. Ironically, it won, and we're probably gonna get to that, but it probably won later than I feel like it should have every single time it did. It's a turbo build, and it didn't turbo ever. For the viewers at home, when in previous seasons, I have pulled out turn 2 wins with Prosh. I have turned out almost a turn 1 with it. It's built to go fast, and it simply didn't every single time. But it is fairly resilient in that it doesn't have to go fast, it can still get there eventually, which proved beneficial to me. But I feel like it played wrong the entire time I was playing it.
Your feelings are accurate and backed up by statistics. Your first win with Prosh was turn 9, second win with Prosh, turn 7. Third win with Prosh was turn 4, so a little quicker, but your average win took 7 turns, so a little higher than league average. What do you feel like your greatest strength this season was?
That's actually kind of hard to pin down because I'm usually more self-critical. My greatest strength, probably trying to play to the table and figuring out who's going to be doing what lines and anticipating what. I had some sneaky answers to things that people didn't really expect or expect me to have answers for. Despite playing no response decks as much as I did, there were definitely some times where I feel like I got one over on the table.
Absolutely, and I think that self-critical way you have of thinking can actually be a great benefit to you because you're so aware of your play style, your decks, and what other people are doing that you're constantly analyzing, you're constantly looking for things out on the board. And genuinely, whenever I cast a spell that I would like to resolve, I'm like, Seth is going to just ruin this for me. So you definitely have, you got a great mind for this game. What do you think you struggled most with this season?
Falling into similar play habits all the time. Like I ran Prosh out multiple times despite probably needing to branch out and try some other stuff when it wasn't really doing what I wanted. So I tend to follow into my practice play habits. Something that you wouldn't know is none of the decks that I've played were like first off showings for that deck build, whereas at least 3 other people ran decks out their first time and had some manner of surprise success with it. So I tend to play the stuff that I'm comfortable with, which can be a detriment.
Yeah, no, you're in the same vein as I just looked it over. You, Kyle, and I played 3 different decks, and that was it.
Yep.
While Jeremy and Sean were definitely mixing it up a lot more than us.
Yep.
But, nothing wrong with being comfortable with certain styles. What are you looking forward to the most for this upcoming season?
Taking what I learned from this season and crushing all of you into the dirt.
Mm-hmm.
Mostly stealing that belt from you, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much. I was so close until it slipped over the last couple of games. I was really in the running, and then it didn't work out. But I feel like if I'm a little bit more proactive about things, I might be able to change that.
I look forward to seeing you try and fail miserably. Now, please leave. Hello, welcome. We're here with Kyle, the second place finisher this season, tied in points. I just happen to have one more win than you.
First loser.
First loser, congratulations.
Thank you.
That's a title you should be proud of.
It's a hard thing to get.
Yeah, no, you worked your ass off to be the first loser, and I'm proud of you, bud. So we're just going to go over some of your stats for this season. Let's start with seed position. Where do you feel like you typically landed when we were playing? What place in the seed position?
Third.
Third?
Second-ish.
Third, second? You like to think of yourself as average?
Second. First
Yeah.
loser.
Wrong! You were in first position 5 times. That's 41.67%, Kyle. You went first so often. That's a third of the games that we played, not even limiting it to the ones that you played. A third of the games we played, you went first. How does that feel? To feel, you were leading the pack.
Feels like first place doesn't get you many wins, I guess.
The statistics would disagree with you, but I appreciate your point of the point you're coming.
I think the statistics are lying. I mean,
Ooh.
maybe they're just made up, but
Yeah.
I lived it, and it didn't work out that way for me.
To be fair to Kyle, I do all the statistics, and no one audits me, so I could be making all of this up. Don't check my stats. Actually do. That would be incredibly flattering if you cared that much to do that. You were in first position a lot of the time, and that's got to be exciting. Let's talk about the array of colors that you played this season. What was your favorite color that you played this season?
Green.
Green? You really enjoyed playing green?
It didn't start off that way, but towards the end of the season, green really felt like it fit a role that a lot of decks seem to be missing.
Yeah, no, that food chain with Sliver, obviously we just saw that in the finale. Absolutely incredible. Obviously a green deck. Your favorite color, according to the statistics, was red. Much like the rest of the league. You played red the most frequently. What just put you over the edge compared to all the other colors was the one game that you played Slicer.
I can see that. I do love red. I mean, my heart, Goblin player.
Yeah.
And it just, red feels good.
Yeah, no, Slicer punching people in the face and it complements the other commanders that you play a lot is absolutely beautiful. You were limited to 3 commanders, which is kind of on par with, I believe it was me and Sean? I can't remember. I've got the statistics right here, but I can't be bothered to change the tab.
Can't change it.
No, I refuse to.
Takes CPU power. It's expensive.
Yeah, tell me about it. Average turn, the average amount of turns that it took you to win. Where do you feel like you fell amongst the rest of the players?
Definitely play later. I mean, Shy Val Smasher is more of a mid-range. Slicer tries to win really fast, but yeah, everything else, trying to find the right timing to go off, and sometimes you have to build to get there. So I'd say probably higher than most.
You're absolutely correct. You had an average of 7.3 turns for the wins. You definitely took your time. You were patient, waited for other people to play their game, waste their resources, and then come in and strike for that final blow to get the win. Incredibly impressive. You did a great job. Let's talk about what you feel like your greatest strength was this season.
Maybe my adaptability. I think learning how other decks try to win and then look for those points or how to mitigate or take advantage of that and use things to help me get a win when other people are shooting for it.
Absolutely, and I feel like the consistency of decks that you played, limiting yourself to 3 decks and really mostly 2 decks you played Slicer the one time, being like familiar with what your deck does, recognizing what people are doing around the table, and knowing what you need to do to shift whenever anyone starts. They might attempt a win con or they put out a value piece. You knew how to shift your game plan to be able to adapt to that. I think absolutely right.
And I think Ashai has gone through a lot of changes too as I've played it. There were things that, like for instance, when I first built it, I don't think Thassa's demo was in there, and that eventually made its way in there.
Mm-hmm.
And so certain combos got cut, or certain consistencies that the deck would have to try to have more backup to doing its plan got cut in lieu of other ways to win than just the one direction. So it got played a lot, but I think I varied it up and tried to change it and adapt to our meta because it's gross.
Absolutely, and that's one thing I love about you is that you given that CEDH has this, I love that CEDH you can do whatever you want with whatever commander, whatever colors. It's very flexible, but there's a lot of expectations of these are the things that we play in CEDH, and these are the ways we're expected to win. And I feel like you fly in the face of that. Of I'm going to find what works for me, what works for my gameplay style, and what works for the group that we're playing against. And I think you did a great job with that. On the flip side, what do you feel like your biggest weakness was this season?
Yeah, I think my weakness is lack of diversity in changing on my deck or maybe implementing changes to it too late or after being beaten by something multiple times rather than making hard cuts or hard decisions on, because when you go through your 99, you're like, what can I cut? You run out across all these cards that seem essential, but a lot of times when they're in your hand, you're like, I wish this was a different card.
Sure.
But they don't seem that way when you're trying to look for cuts. So that's where I think I need to be more proactive on and actually look at myself and say, okay, in the multiple times I've played this deck, how many times have I seen these cards? 0 to 1? Maybe let's try replacing it and see if a different piece pops up and gets me better results.
Yeah, and that's always something I struggle with making cuts in decks is when is too soon to be oh, I've played 2 games with this and I haven't gotten this specific card, or when I have gotten it, it hasn't lived up to my expectations of it. Do I cut it now for something I've never played with? And it's kind of tough when we're in a 15-game season to try and figure out okay, how long do I hold on to this, or when do I just cut it out of my deck and try to move on to something else?
Yeah.
For sure. So next season coming up, what are you looking forward to the most for this upcoming season, season 2?
Probably just winning. I mean, but other than that, some new decks, some new ideas, and sounds like the other people in the group have the same idea. They want to bring some new stuff, so I think it's just going to be very interesting to see what we run into.
I am absolutely terrified if you're looking forward to more winning, because that just means you're going to win the league. I really rather you didn't, because I want to win the league. But no, I'm absolutely looking forward to seeing what decks you come up with this season. It's going to be so much fun. I'm going to kick your ass, and it's going to be a great time. All right, we're here with Jeremy, the patriarch of the league, as well as the most gracious loser we have.
Yes.
How you doing, bud?
It was an interesting season.
I can only imagine.
Yeah.
What do you feel like your favorite deck to play was this season? We saw 6 different decks from you. Which was your favorite?
My personal favorite to play this season would probably be Najila. I never played a 5-color deck before, and until recently, this is actually I think my first deck I've ever built over 3 colors. I've never played 4-color. So getting to play with all of the toys was very, very fun. I definitely see some of the drawbacks of the deck going into the current meta, and just in general. Clearly didn't win with it, but it was a very fun deck.
And obviously not all of our games get on camera. You had some incredible games with Najila off camera too. So
of course.
I'm very excited to see that deck get played more frequently, and you smash some face with that beautiful lady.
Hopefully.
And also get a good Kinnan game on camera.
Just please save me, Najulis.
Najulis!
Save me, Najulis!
Where do you feel like you ended up at the table? What position you feel was most frequent?
I would say second. I don't know why. I didn't feel like I went first a lot, but I felt like I was going right after the first spot, which felt good, but clearly did not work out for me.
You are mostly correct. You were in second position 33% of the games. You were last, also 33% of the games. So you were pretty much just doing second or last. Yeah,
feels good.
Yeah,
feels
yeah.
Good.
Which, as we saw earlier, second position was the least favorable for likelihood to win.
Are those spike feeder dice loaded?
We'll have to reach out to Winnipeg, see if they had some quality assurance on that.
Yeah.
What do you think your favorite color to play was? At least statistically, tell me what you think your most frequent color played was and what you felt your favorite color was.
It's tough. Red obviously is what actually gets played the most, just in general, because Daddy liked to go fast. But my favorite is, and will always be, blue.
Man after my own heart.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Your most played color was red. There was only one deck that didn't run it, and that's King.
Yeah.
What do you feel like your greatest strength was this season?
Learning how to lose and being all right with it. Honestly, this is something that I'm guessing any CEH player or just Magic player in general is going to come across. You're going to find a group of friends, start playing in a pod, really love it, have some wins, have some losses, but, maybe one time you're going to hit a streak of 13, 14 losses in a row, and it's going to be brutal. And just understand that sometimes, literally, statistically, it can happen. You can be the best player in the world, and you can make mistakes, and you can lose some stuff. But learning how to try to get better and slow down your play, figure out what works, and not make those misplays is what's going to make you a better player. So,
yeah, you were incredibly resilient this season to be able. The mindset that you took of just all right, don't focus so much on the losses that I've accumulated. Of just go out there, play some fun decks, play some strong decks, just try to work on your game. It was fun to watch, even if I'm sure it was difficult to experience.
No, it was definitely a new experience for me. For the people at home, I have won 2 of the previous seasons, and one of those seasons I had a 45% win ratio.
Absolutely dominant.
Like, it was unbelievable, and it's nice to get humbled sometimes. It makes you go back and realize that maybe you need to learn this game that you've been playing for 20 years again, all over again. So I decided to reach out. I'm getting coaching from Rebel. Looking out, CDH Queen hopefully going to help this pile of mess and bring me from a 0 to a hero next season.
You know, if she does, we need to send her that belt. What did you struggle most with this season?
To be honest, the biggest thing is speed of play. I think multiple times I miss my chances early. First, most important thing in a game is your mulligan and really understanding what pod you're playing in and not disrespecting those decks. Like, understand that everyone at the table is at a threat and they're going to keep a hand that could possibly win on turn 2, turn 1. It is not okay to keep a hand that's like, this is all right. Every single mulligan, you're fighting for your life.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
Great mindset to have. And thanks for sharing that with our viewers. You're doing a little coaching yourself. What are you looking forward to the most for this upcoming season?
Ooh. Winning.
Yeah.
Winning a lot. I've got some stuff planned. Been working on a few things that are going to be interesting and just slowing down that play. But the thing I'm looking forward to the most next season, playing some Magic, having some fun, and enjoying people watching this. The fact that we have people here watching us playing this game is incredible.
Yeah, who would have thought we'd ever have people watching these idiots play Magic? But it's
Here we are.
it's so much fun to play, and I'm glad people are enjoying it too.
Yeah.
I would tell you to leave, but honestly, I don't want to sit here by myself. Do you want to talk to... You want to just have a conversation about how great I was this
Yeah.
season?
So, here I am with John.
Hi.
Lowest seat, highest seat.
Hey.
How's it feeling this season?
Incredible. Did you know that I won the season?
It was insane. Tivit is the scariest Sphinx Rogue I've ever seen. That deck blows my mind, and you play it very well.
Well, thank you. I think it was a combination of being able to play it consistently, and it also is a deck that plays to my strengths, which
100%.
is just accruing value and shutting other people down, which is some of my favorite stuff in Magic.
And being able to respond, and you took so much hate from the table game after game with that deck, and being able to still pivot, come out of it, and get a win it's my favorite way to play Magic. Playing it as a toolbox, understanding at what point you need to do certain things, pull certain cards, and you were able to do that at the right point clearly every time. Although it being very close season, you were always the one pushing, which was great to see. What do you think was your most played color this season?
Blue. It's blue.
Yes, it is blue. John will know the answer to all of these questions because John wrote this.
Crazy.
So, obviously blue. What would you say your favorite color is?
It's blue.
It's blue.
It's blue. I mean,
It's blue.
blue is so much fun. It's got
It's blue.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's got all of the interaction that you want. It's got the value engines that you want.
Yeah.
It's, card draw and card denial and interaction. It's just some of my favorite Magic.
And it's got our fish princess, Thoracle.
Yeah, no, and that's why black is my second favorite. Because I like to win efficiently. And I don't know, did you see the little number there?
Yeah. That is surprising. Go ahead.
Average number of turns it takes me to win is a 5.45?
5.5.
5.5. Fastest in the league, baby. Most efficient winner.
Hands down. I'm surprised we didn't see a turn 1, turn 2 yet.
I'm sorry. I had that turn 3 win. I apologize.
I know. But we'll get there, I'm sure.
That's the hope.
What do you think was your strength this season?
My strength this season, it's so funny because, so obviously we all know that we've played with each other for years, and so we all are relatively familiar with our journeys through Magic, and I usually like to vary up my decks a lot.
Oh, yeah.
I play a bunch of different decks because I want to be able to do everything. And I think my strength this season was just sticking to essentially 2 decks. I played Thrasios Jessica 1 game, but then it was Blue Farm and Tivit for the rest of the season. And I just felt really comfortable playing those decks consistently, learning how they play, how they interact with the table, and just being more familiar with that stuff.
I remember when we were going into this season, I was talking to you, and I think you had just started playing Blue Farm, and I said, this is really great to see you in this kind of archetype of the mid-range, grind it out, just get the value, because it's something that our table hadn't seen much of. And you played it so well, and then moving to Tivit, I think you just specialized it more. I think, while Blue Farm is great, it is very generalized, and it's just kind of a wide net, kind of just good stuff in some ways, but Tivit kind of focuses in what you like about Blue Farm.
Absolutely. And I am a big scaredy cat, so I need a big safety net.
Yeah.
I want to have all the cards and all the good things.
Right. So we know you did fantastically, but what do you think was your weakness this season?
You know, we all do it, but just like the simple misplays of just as I think I frequently so I love playing Magic with my friends. That's like, it's my social outlet. It is my happy place. It's also sometimes distracting. Of like, I'm having so much fun with these guys that I forget what I have in my hand and what I should probably do to stop someone from winning right now.
Right.
And some of that just comes with like, really simple example is like I had Otawara Soaring City grouped with my lands in my hand, and I should have it grouped with my spells to remember like this, because my mind just discounted that part of my hand because that's lands.
Yeah.
But Otawara is interaction first and foremost, and a land is secondary. So just like small things like that of just playing a little slower, take my time, actually think about my options, remind myself what I have going on, and learning from those mistakes,
right?
Not just making the same ones over and over.
I think almost every Magic player can be like, "Oh, whoops! I forgot the channel on any of the channel lands."
Yeah,
I've done it myself multiple times, and it is soul crushing.
Yeah, just literally the last game with Kyle having food chain and me. Instead of opposition agent, I could have just Otawara and. It is what it is.
And that's the game of Magic.
Yeah,
Learning from the misplays and just getting better. And that's great. What are you looking forward to coming into the second season? Defending your belts.
Honestly, that's it. Defending my belt is that I had a target on my back for the second half of the season. Now I feel like I'm going to have a target on my back for the entirety of this season. I feel
100%.
I've already been told specifically, I can't remember who it was, sorry to whoever said it, but they said, oh, I've got specific cards I'm putting in my deck specifically to screw you over. And it's kind of nice to just be, because you're the villain in this group, and you love being the villain, and I don't win many things in my life, so to be able to win this championship and to be able to lord it over my friends for the next season, it's going to be so much fun.
It's the best. Being the arch enemy of the table, it can get tough at times. You might end up having a big old goose egg at the end of a season.
Hey.
I highly doubt it. I don't know if we'll ever see that again, but I'm glad we got it over with on the first season.
Yeah, thanks for taking that one first.
Yeah, you're welcome. So let's go into and talk about our points going into this next season. We're going to change things up here and shift our points. The concept of Things in the Ice is that we never keep the same points. We want to always adapt and move forward. And a lot of people have reached out through social media with great ideas and different concepts. So, John, why don't you take us through some of our new points for next season?
Absolutely. So, we will be awarding 1 point if you win the game, and then 1 point for each opponent that you knock out. So, you knock out an opponent, that's a point. If you win the game on the spot with Authorical, something like that, and you had 3 opponents that were still in the game, that's 3 points plus the 1 point for the win, 4 points total. So, 1 point for a win, 1 point for knocking out an opponent. We are also awarding a point if you win on turn 1 or turn 2. That hasn't happened in the history of our league. But you know,
Not yet.
not yet, but hey, it might happen.
Give me time.
Yeah, just play more turbo decks, Seth. Or play your turbo deck better, Seth. We will also be awarding 1 point for a 5 stack. Similar to last season, if a stack of 5 or more spells resolves in your favor, you will be awarded 1 point. And that can be at multiple different points throughout the game. First Blood, still sticking around. You deal the first combat damage of the game, you get 1 point. It's just... It's fun.
We like to hit people.
Yeah, and there's never been a point in a game where I'm like, oh, I could cast a spell, but I gotta get that first blood. It's like, no. It's just a fun little, hey, great job for being aggressive.
Yep.
And then finally, we are also trying to respect the stacks in our league, and first person to have 2 stacks pieces on board in the game will get 1 point as well.
An interesting distinction with that as well. We are considering Mystic Remora, Rhystic Study, Esper Sentinel, Smothering Tide, those tax-like pieces as stacks pieces here in this forward distinction. Just so other decks do have a chance to actually get this point as well, other than a purely dedicated stacks deck, but obviously they will have the advantage in getting those points.
Absolutely. And, you know, tax is right in there. Stacks makes sense.
Close enough?
Those are the points that we're giving out this season that, you know, we'll see how it works out. We're always happy to hear the feedback from the community, and it's always fun to see you guys involved and care about how we play this.
We're super excited to see what happens with this next season. We've made some big upgrades to our lighting and rig setup. Hopefully that'll help out our video quality, and let us know what you think. But most importantly, what card are you putting up, John?
Oh!
What card are you putting up to win?
You know, I thought as reigning champion, I would toss something to the lowly serfs that I lord over and offer up a Mana Crypt as the reward for the winner next season. So really, I'm just laying this Mana Crypt away for when I get the belt again next season, but it gives you guys hope that you might have a Mana Crypt.
I'm going to crush you next season.
I'd like to see you try. Crush me, daddy. Well, yeah.
Fantastic. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next season.